Hello, class 7 students. How are you all? So today, what is Preenam I'm going to teach you? Today, from your textbooks, we are going to be studying chapter number 12. Ready, all the class 7 students? Okay, so I want all of you to open your textbooks to chapter number 12, which is on page number 140. So as all of you can see that the name of the chapter is Fundamental Rights and Duties. So two important points in this chapter, we are going to learn fundamental rights, their definition and classification, and fundamental duties. So now if you remember, in the previous class, we studied about how the Indian Constitution came into existence. 29th August 1947, the drafting committee was appointed. Then on 26 November 1949, the Constitution was adopted on 26 November 1949. And on 26 January 1950, it was enforced. That is, it came into practice. So why there was a need of the Constitution? Because India at the time of independence, it was very fragile. It was very weak in terms of political stability or in terms of economic stability, and socially also there was a lot of unrest among the people. So in order to ensure that all citizens feel respected, feel dignified and feel wanted, it was decided that the Constitution is to be made. And we all know that at the time of independence, India had suffered a great loss. That was the partition of India. Correct? So, Constitution was made to at least ensure that the citizens of India are now protected against any problem in terms of problems related to social problems or economic problems. So, such problems. And it is for this reason that the preamble, which is also the introductory statement or the soul of the Constitution, it talked about India being a democratic, socialist, secular republic state. And then it said, we're talking about justice, equality, fraternity. So various features that we discussed about the Indian Constitution. So when we talked about equality, from this feature of the Indian Constitution came this feature of the Indian Constitution, how is it supported or how is it brought into the practice? Through fundamental rights and duties. Basically, rights and duties talk about equality in the society. So that is what we are going to study in today's class. Correct? So I've told you a brief about India after independence. Now, the Constitution and the fundamental rights. So there are 6 fundamental rights which are mentioned in part 3 of the Indian Constitution. So if you remember that in our previous class, we also studied certain features of the Indian Constitution. And one of the features that we studied was that it is the lengthiest constitution in the world. So it has several parts. So part 3 of the Indian Constitution talks about fundamental rights, and these are contained in articles from Article 12 to Article 32. And of course, they are based or inspired from the idea of equality. And what is the need for rights? So let's say like you're studying in your school and a class monitor has to be chosen. For example, how would you feel that if, let's say, a particular group of students, they decide among themselves that he or she is going to be the class monitor and no other person in the class is allowed to give their opinion, or they do not have the right to give their opinion? You will feel bad, you will feel hurt, you will feel neglected. It's going to affect your self-confidence that, probably these people think that I'm not capable enough to take a decision for the class. Correct? So such is the case of the country. The need for rights arises because, of course, we talk about things like equality, justice, yes. But what is the individual need, or what is the basic need for establishing rights or having this entire concept of providing rights to all the citizens? Is to boost up their confidence and they to feel dignified, respected. So the need for rights, the basic need or the individual need for rights is that the person feels respected, and then the person feels the need to contribute in the national development. So it's like a give and take relationship. If I, as the government, if I am giving you rights, if I'm giving you the liberty on certain matters, what would you do? You would ensure that you support me as and when required. So this is the basic need of rights, that the citizens feel respected, and in return, of course, they are ready to do what or contribute whatever is possible from their end for national development. Then, of course, these rights are enforceable through courts of law. Now, the demand for fundamental rights was made for the first time by the Nehru Committee Report, 1928. He regarded fundamental rights as the conscience of the Constitution, as the as the necessity, and they are inspired by the American Bill of Rights. So he felt that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru felt that rights is something that have to be a part of the Indian Constitution. So these are the main fundamental rights. So there's right to equality, right against exploitation, cultural and educational rights, right to freedom of expression, right to freedom of religion, and right to constitutional remedy. So total 6 fundamental rights. So we are going to read about them from your textbook. So you remember that in the previous class, we discussed that it is a detailed constitution as well, a feature of the Indian Constitution. So now let us study the detailed information about these articles. So right to equality is given from Article 14 to Article 18. It guarantees equality before law, meaning all citizens enjoy equal protection of law. Someone who's rich, someone who's very good looking, someone who belongs to a particular community, doesn't matter. All these things do not matter. You've committed a crime, whatever punishment is to be given, you will have to face that. So caste, creed, community, race, religion has no role to play when we talk about law. Then Article 15, so 14 to 18 we are studying. 15, it prohibits discrimination on the basis of caste, gender, creed, community. So discrimination of any form is not allowed as per the right to equality. See how briefly this is described in the Constitution. Article 14 says everyone is equal in the eyes of the law. Article 15 says that it's a punishable offense to practice any kind of discrimination. What does Article 16 says? It guarantees equality of opportunity to all citizens in matter of government job. So let's say someone is trying to discriminate a particular person on the basis of caste in a government job. This person who's been discriminated against has the right to approach the court and probably the law and complain about this person. And if the person is found guilty, there is a serious punishable offense. It is considered as a serious punishable offense, and the person has to face the law. Article 17, it abolishes untouchability in India. So during the Vedic age, we know how the society was divided into how Shudras were ill-treated, correct? So untouchability, the practice of untouchability is completely abolished. Again, it's a punishable offense as per the law of the country. And Article 18, it prohibits the state from conferring any title except military and academic titles. It also prohibits any Indian citizen from receiving any title from a foreign state. So we remember, we studied about India India having the control or having the right to make laws related to internal laws or foreign relations. Correct? So basically, no one can take any titles except military and academic. So like academic people who complete their PhD are given the title of doctor or doctor. Then right to freedom from Article 19 to 22. So what is the right to freedom? So there's freedom of speech and expression, of course, ensuring that it doesn't offend the other person. This also we need to keep in mind. I keep on abusing you. I keep on saying ill about you. That's not freedom of speech and expression. Freedom of speech and expression to talk about something which is wrong, but not hurt or offend the other person. Assemble peacefully at a particular place. So there's a protest going on a government policy and there's vandalization, that is destruction of public property. That's not allowed. That's a crime. If you're assembling at a particular place, peacefully talking about things you have or your issues, That's allowed. Then to form unions and associations. So like you have trade unions, market unions. So that is also a right to freedom. Then to move freely throughout the territory of India and to reside and settle anywhere within India. So no one can tell you that you cannot settle in a particular state in India. You can settle and visit any state in India and to practice any profession or occupation, trade or business. This is the right to information. Now the Right to Information Act, or the RTI, which was introduced in 2005, it has enabled Indians to obtain any information from the government offices. Article 20 provides right to protection in respect of conviction of offences. No person shall be convicted for any offence except for the violation of law in force at that time. No person shall be punished more than once for the same crime. Okay. And 21, it says guaranteed protection of life and personal freedom of the citizens of India. And Article 22 says that it has given certain rights to a person arrested under ordinary circumstances. So they can have their own lawyer also. And they need to be presented before the district magistrate within 24 hours of their arrest. So the police cannot keep someone in their custody for more than 24 hours unnecessarily. They need to be presented in front of the district magistrate. Of course, there are certain limitations to all these rights. Right to education. So we know that free and compulsory education till the age of 14. And of course, there's a provision of midday meal as well. Right against exploitation, Article 23 and 24. So 23 prohibits forced labor and human trafficking. That is the selling and buying of humans. So human trafficking, and it has been declared as a punishable offense. And 24 has prohibited the employment of children below the age of 14 in a factory, mine, or any hazardous work. So, it was found that a lot of young children, let's say 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, basically below the age of 14, these children were employed in coal mines, in cracker factories, and it was turning very hazardous for them, for their health, right? So now it was declared. Now this is considered as exploitation. So it is right against exploitation. And let me tell you something here. Ideally, you should not even employ young children at your home as domestic help. Okay. Now we talked about right to freedom of religion. So we know that India has diversity in terms of religion as well. So Article 25 has guaranteed every citizen of India of conscience to believe, practice and preach any religion according to his or her choice. So let's say if I am a Hindu, I can practice any other religion. I can practice Islam, I can practice Sikhism, I can practice Buddhism, I can practice Christianity, I can practice any religion. No one can tell me that because you are born into a particular family which practices a particular religion, you can only practice this religion now. No, I as an individual, I have a choice to practice a particular religion. But like we studied in history chapters, religion will always talk about establishing peace and harmony. Then Article 26, it gives the Indian citizens the right to set up and maintain any religion institutions. So the temples, the gurudwaras, the mosques that you see, these are as per the right. And 27 has declared that the government cannot collect tax from any religious institution. And 28 says that the government aided school or college cannot impart any religious instruction. So you might have come across a few schools which have a name showing that they belong to a particular religion as such, but that school cannot cannot instruct, or it cannot force the religion on the students. This is an important part. Okay, so now let us understand the next right. So this is cultural and educational right. So Article 29 has guaranteed the minorities to maintain their distinct language, script, and culture. And then Article 30 has allowed the minorities to set up and administer their own educational institution. So this right basically focuses on the needs of the minorities. Okay, then you have right to constitutional remedies. Now, Dr. Ambedkar, he called this right to constitutional remedies as the heart and soul of the Indian Constitution. This right enables the citizens of India to appeal to the Supreme Court or higher courts whenever their fundamental rights are violated. So if right to freedom, right to education, right against exploitation, cultural rights, if any of the rights that you've just studied, if any of these are violated, you're not allowed to practice this. Though you are practicing them in the right manner, in that case, you can use the right to constitutional remedies. How are you going to do that? You can approach the court, the lower court, high court, and the Supreme Court if you feel that your rights are being violated. The court issues writs like habeas corpus and mandamus and quo warranto, provision and certiorari in order to enforce the rights. And Dr. Ambedkar, as I told you, he called them as the soul of the Indian Constitution, because right to constitutional remedies, it acts like a cover, or it acts like a protection for the other fundamental rights, other 5 fundamental rights. And this right, it cannot be suspended except as provided by the Constitution. Okay, so this is all about our fundamental rights. Now let us understand something about our fundamental duties. So if you are given certain liberties, you need to know the limitations to that, or what is your obligation in that manner. So this we study through fundamental duties. So talking about fundamental duties, so fundamental duties. So we know that rights are something which help us to develop and our skills, our talents. And duties, on the other hand, make us honest and responsible citizens of the country. So you have the right to roam in the corridors during the lunch break. That's your right. I'm giving you an example. What is your duty at that point of time? To ensure that you do not create any kind of chaos, any kind of problem, or you do not create any kind of issues during the time you are roaming in the corridor. Now take this example for a country. It is your fundamental right to assemble at a place peacefully. What is your duty? To ensure that the peace is maintained. Okay, and these fundamental duties, these are enumerated in part 4A of the Constitution. So part 3 consists of fundamental rights, and fundamental duties are incorporated in part 4A. They were added by the 42nd Amendment 1976. And fundamental rights cannot be violated, and the Supreme Court acts as the guard. They cannot be violated because the Supreme Court acts as the guardian of these rights. Okay, and guardian of the Constitution as well. However, in case of declaration of national emergency, fundamental rights under Article 19, they stand suspended if there is a national emergency. Fundamental rights, Article 20 and 21, they cannot be suspended even during the operation of national emergency. Okay. So, fundamental duties, why are these included? To follow the Constitution and respect its ideals and institution, and national symbols like the national flag, the national anthem. Then respect and incorporate the ideals which were the very base of our freedom struggle. This is also a fundamental duty. Then to protect and promote the sovereignty, the unity and the integrity of India, to provide defense and national services when called upon, promote harmony and brotherhood among all Indians. This is your fundamental duty. Then reserve the natural resources, develop the spirit of inquiry and reform, scientific temper. So basically, ensuring scientific development, but then again, something that is not destructive in its approach. For every parent or guardian to provide opportunity for education to their children while in the age of 6 to 14, and to contribute towards making improvements in all spheres of individuals and collective functions to make the nation reach new heights of achievements. Okay, so this is about fundamental duties. So I hope all of you have understood this chapter. I'm going to meet you in the next class. Till then, bye-bye.